Okay, back again with the Ineos Grenadier HVAC box diagram. Now, this seems to be a problem for a number of people, which is basically where they get superheated air to the rear passengers and either cool or ambient air to the face level vents. So what I have here is a diagram which shows how the HVAC box can end up doing that, and I don't think it's correct. I think there's an issue here. I'll explain why. So this diagram shows the arrangement of flaps when you have the controls set to face vents only. Now, face vents only is one of the only settings which will allow air to get to the rear passengers. For example, if you have anything that has a foot level vent selected, then you will not get anything to the rear passengers because you either have foot level or you have rear. You cannot have both at the same time, as I've explained before. Slightly odd, but there you go. So if you want to have warm feet in the front, then passengers in the back get nothing. Terribly sorry. But anyway, this is what seems to be happening in some people's cases. So as I've explained before, all of the air that comes from the fan goes through the evaporator. A small amount then can pass directly up to the face vents. This doesn't go to the defrost vents because when the defrost vent is open, this bypass, if you like, is closed. So go figure. So in the case of the face vent being open, then you will get this bypass, which in theory should allow for slightly cooler air to hit the face as opposed to what is going to the rear or the foot, the feet level vents. But in the case of where you have this very hot air going to the rear, what's happening is that this flap in the middle, this is called the bypass flap. This essentially divides the unit into two. So therefore, air coming through here only goes up to the face, and air that goes through the two heater blocks will only go to the rear. So if your heater valve, if your water heater valve is stuck on, it won't close, then hot air will go into the rear, and because of this little bypass here, you will get potentially cold air going to the face. Now, my particular Grenadier does not do this. My Grenadier does not close this bypass when the face level vents are on. So you basically get hot air coming through to the face with a mixture of cool air as well. So the air going to the rear is going to be slightly hotter because it doesn't have this bypass. The air doesn't really kind of go down there. You might get a little bit going down there, but there will be a significant difference between the face and the rear, even in my car without this closed. But when this is closed, and I can't see why it would be, it just doesn't make any sense. But when it is, you're going to get a significant difference in temperature between the two zones. Sort of doesn't really make sense. As I've explained previously, some old BMWs from the 1980s and probably earlier had this idea that you should never get heat to your face. I think old Mercedes probably similar as well, although maybe not quite the case. And this may be why this happens, but this to me is extreme because it means that you can't get any warm air to the face at all if this is closed. So as I say, mine doesn't do it. So maybe this is ultimately a software issue as to whether this opens or closes. In my opinion, this bypass flap should only be closed in the event of you having the foot vent open only. Okay, so that basically means all the air goes through into the foot. None of it goes to the rear at that point, but it all goes through the foot vent. And ultimately this is closed, and there'll be some leakage going through the defrost. There'll be some leakage going through the defrost, because when this is closed, the defrost is open. Again, you can't close all of these at once. You cannot close all of them at once. There's always going to be one of these open, regardless of what the setting is. The other thing that's interesting is just how inconsistent the operation of these units are. Some people have this issue. My issue is slightly different in that this isn't closed. Some people can't get any heat. I wish I couldn't get any heat at this point in time, but never mind. Some people can't get the air conditioning compressor to work, as I can't. So it just seems horribly inconsistent. But anyway, hopefully that sort of clears up the mystery of why you would get this sort of two-zone system, because this is not an air blend system. There's no blending of the air to get the right temperature. This is purely controlled by the valve for this heater matrix, which just turns on and off, on and off, on and off, and lets the coolant in and then out, depending on what temperature you've got selected. Anyway, I can't add anything much more to that now, so I guess I've got some cleaning up to do.